Just how likely is Ohio State to do what only 14 other programs in the history of college football have done and repeat as national champions? What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If that is something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like this video and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that Ohio State can do what it has never done before and repeat as national champions? I'm also going to take this opportunity to remind you that we have an audio podcast on Apple and Spotify, and I'm giving out stickers, look like this, to anyone that goes to Spotify, goes to Apple, leaves a 5-star review, and then fills out the form in the description below where I can send you your sticker. Really, really cool to see this going on, man. We're fast approaching 400 reviews on Apple, and be great to get there to 1,000 by the time college football season starts. Fast approaching 100 on Spotify. Please help us out if you haven't already. So I'm looking at this, and I asked this question in earnest because I thought about Georgia and what they were attempting to do and how they fell short, and how there's been only one 3-time three-peat national champion in the history of the sport. And we argue about that one because that's Minnesota, 1931 to 1934, 1935, 1936. But I was going through this and I'm going, is it really that Ohio State has never done this? And if you take a look at just who has, it's kind of hard to believe. So let's look at this, right? Because there's pre-World War II, there's post-World War II, and then there's what I think of as the real modern era of college football, which is integration, 1970. So Princeton, 1869, 1870. Princeton again, 1872, 1873. Yale, 1876, 1877. Princeton, well, I guess that is a 3-time because co-champ. 1878, 1879, 1880. Yale, damn, Yale won it 4 times in a row? What were we really doing? 1881, 1882, 1883. Yale again, 1886, 1887, 1888. Yale again, 1891, 1892. Harvard, 1898, 1899. And then we get to Michigan, right? Finally, 1901, 1902, 1903, 1904. So I need to go ahead and just amend that front statement. I'm going, maybe it's just the first time that we've seen somebody, or the last time that someone had won 3 consecutive national championships, not the first time. But certainly we haven't seen it since. Okay, so now that I get to throw my tongue completely over my shoulder, Harvard, 1912, co-champion, 1913. Cornell, 1921, 1922, both are co-champions. We get to Cal, 1920, 1921, 1922. Alabama finally enters there, 1925, 1926. Notre Dame, 1929, 1930. USC, 1931, 1932. Minnesota, 1934, 1935, 36. And then Minnesota again, 40 and 41. Army, 40 and 45. And then that's basically we're getting into post-World War II and what many people start to define as this era of college football that really we can harken back to that kind of looks similar to what we're doing now. Then you got Notre Dame, 1946, 1947. Oklahoma, 1955, 1956. Alabama, 64, 65. Michigan State, 65, 66. Duffy Daugherty would go down to the Beaumont Triangle in Texas and recruit the hell out of it, bring them back to East Lansing and go win championships. Texas, 69 and 70. Texas, who is the last team to have an all-white roster to win a national championship, to which when Darrell Royal was told that, he's like, look, if Arkansas beat us, they would have been national champions. They've been the last all-white roster. Yeah, but it was y'all, so you're stuck with it. Then we get Nebraska, 1970, 71. Oklahoma, 74, 75. Alabama, 78, 79. Nebraska, 94, 95. This is where it gets thick for me because I start to think of, like, Tommy Frazier's Nebraska as really that pendulum swinging from what we thought of as, kind of a Big Ten, Big 8 kind of bias that really goes toward Nebraska toward the end of the Big 12, becoming a program that everybody is terrified of for the last time, right? Like we were terrified of them in the 70s, terrified of them in the 80s, terrified of them in the 90s. And then about the time Eric Crouch gets out of there in 01, then we're like, oh, okay, Cool. Nebraska is only Ndamukong Suh in 2009 and then nobody, right? Then you get Alabama 2011, 2012, really at a high watermark for Nick Saban and Murder Ball when they could play that really huge 3-4 and have these 260-pound inside linebackers and these 330-pound zero techniques and just go to work on people while running the football down your throat, play action pass. Oh, there's Julio Jones. Let me go hit him. He wasn't part of that 2011, 2012 crew, but you get my point there. Amari Cooper catching all the passes. Derrick Henry running all the footballs. I really love that era of Nick Saban football because it's the last time that you were able to do that and win. As we got closer to, we're going to spread it out. We're going to throw it around. We're going to try to take on your cornerbacks that are 210 pounds and 6'2", and we're going to try to outrun them to the corner. And then you get Georgia 21-22, where Kirby Smart had put together one of the best defenses that anybody had seen on either side of the ball. Both of those teams have really helped push the NFL in a new era, specifically the Philadelphia Eagles, who have used a lot of those players to win the last Super Bowl. So now I'm up to Ohio State, and as you can see, even as I'm recounting to you all these teams that won 3 and 4 championships, Ohio State has never doubled it up, which is kind of hard to believe because you still are in the single digits of losing seasons for Ohio State. It doesn't really happen all that much. Matter of fact, it's really rare to find them winning fewer than 7 games in a season, and this is them being a part of the Big Ten since the 19th century. And they were very early to integration. It's one of the other reasons I like talking about Ohio State is it is one of the only predominantly white institutions that said, hey, look, we don't give a damn. Can you play? Big Bill Bell, come on down in the 1930s. Place him in for us, right? Paul Warfield, can you play? Archie Griffin, only 2-time Heisman winner. Can you play? These are things that Texas wouldn't do, right? This is one of the reasons that it's easy for me to root against Texas. Yes, I'm that type, right? But I'm also looking at this going, does Ohio State really have the roster to get this done? And for me, yeah, they do. You got Julian Sayin at quarterback, which is the one thing that you need to prove. He's the one player on that roster that you can't quite call it with. And as a rule, 5-star quarterbacks can be Trevor Lawrence or they can be Jackson Arnold. You can get a chasm in between. But with C.J. Donaldson, with James Peoples, and then the mutant on the outside with the mutant gene in Jeremiah Smith, and then you got Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis. And on the other side, you got Caleb Downs, who, if he didn't play safety, he's probably the number 1 pick in next year's draft. You have an opportunity to not just win a national championship and join the ranks, be in the 15th program to double up, but also you could have another Biletnikoff Award winner, Jeremiah Smith, or Heisman winner, and or both, right? You could also have the best defender in all of football, Caleb Downs. That was really difficult to argue against what Travis Hunter was doing last year. I don't see Ohio State doing with Caleb Downs what Colorado did with Travis Hunter because you need that dude to play safety, and you've got Jeremiah Smith. Like, that's the part that I think people forget about this. When they talk about even Caleb Downs getting goal line carries or short yardage carries at tailback, I don't want that. I was thrilled to see him return a punt for a touchdown. Then he fumbled the rock. You don't want to see that. You want that dude to play the pterodactyl. Let him be a free safety that can roam the center field and then play that linebacker position where you get your 7.5 tackles for loss, where he can take down bigger running backs and run stop for you, where you can be an 8th man in the box. The ways in which Matt Patricia is going to be able to use that guy are myriad. I think of him the way that I used to think about Isaiah Simmons when Brent Venables had him at Clemson, destroyer of worlds. A dude that could do anything you wanted. Stand up in a 4'9" technique and go rush the passer. Could play weak side linebacker. Could play center field at safety. He could play corner if that's what you wanted him to do. But he's so big, 6 foot, 205, and he's so fast that you want to give him as much free roaming territory as you can to cover, because that's what he's best at. He is, that's why I call him the pterodactyl. He can cover the entire field sideline to sideline. So on 3rd down, you know where he's going to be, or you have to account for where he's going to be, and on 3rd and short, you also know where he's going to be and have to count on where he's going to be. He's not a guy you get to take off the field. That's my biggest pet peeve with any of these players that we talk about. If they're a guy that comes off the field in any package, he must not be that important to what you're doing. It's one of the reasons I kind of look down on Wildcat quarterbacks and with the quarterback that's out there. You're telling me that your quarterback doesn't have this skill set. Okay, cool. We also don't trust this guy that you got at Wildcat quarterback to throw the football. So we're just going to come after him. It's telegraphing what you want to do, and we should be able to stop it if we're the defense, because you put a quarterback out at wide receiver, and we just don't expect you to throw him the ball. Every now and again, you get something like a Sooner special, right? But that's usually in goal line situations, and you have an alert for that. And on the other side, it's, can you protect the quarterback, and can the quarterback catch up? I think given the year that Julian Sahan had behind Will Howard and the opportunities he had and the ways in which the departing Buckeyes have been talking about him, everything should go according to plan. But that's how it mostly went with Kyle McCord, and he lost the one game you couldn't lose, and he hit the transfer portal. Julian Sahan wanted to play for Nick Saban. Nick Saban had still been in Alabama, that's where he would be. But that would be where a lot of people would be, along with like Caleb Downs. So can Ohio State be one of these programs that can double it up? Yeah, I think they can. And we're going to get a really good idea of what opportunity might lie ahead of them after the Texas game in week 1. They win that one going away, it's going to be difficult to pick against them the rest of the way. But the seasons have gotten so much longer, right? We went for playing 12 games, people forget, for the first time in 2006. Like, that was 12-game regular season implementation. Then we went to playing 15 games in the college football playoff where you could go 15-0. Now, Ohio State needed to play 16 times to win, right? That's where we're at now. And we could add yet another game or two to the schedule, depending on what they want to do with 14, 16 teams in the college football playoff in 2026. But I think Ohio State is very much in that spot that we have seen Georgia in, not the one that Michigan was in last year, because Michigan had lost the quarterback that helped them win the national championship and didn't replace him with somebody that was just as good. I don't think that's the case at Ohio State. So as we continue to talk through this, you're going to hear me say over and over again, hey, can they join the ranks of these teams that have managed to win back-to-back national championships? And in the 21st century, that feels harder than it's ever been. Just looking at the names you know here, because it's just Alabama and it's just Georgia. It's two most dominant SEC programs and the two most dominant programs in the last decade. That's who you're trying to join. If you can run through Alabama and Ohio State, or run through Alabama and Georgia on the way to do it, that's what you're going to do. And I would love that, because I would like an unassailable double champion. But we'll see. We'll see. I can't wait for this Texas game. Like, I know it's June. I know it's around the corner. But for me, man, who's doing this sort of content every single day, it cannot get here quick enough. I am so excited to find out if C.J. Baxter still has it. Because this dude that hasn't rushed for more than 659 yards in the season, hadn't run the ball since January 1st, 2024, right? Because he's coming off that ACL injury. I can't wait to see what C.J. Donaldson looks like down 20 pounds. There's just so many things I want to see, right? What do the edges look like with Jack Sawyer and JT2 and Mo Lau gone? Has Anthony Hill taken the leap? That's just the game that I'm going to watch. If they can win that game by double digits, I expect them to be the front runner to win the national championship and to join this rank of teams that have managed to do this over the last 156 years, 57 years. Not 18, and my math is already messed up. Y'all know I can't tell 3 from 4, but we're going to get through it.